ॐ अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। हरिः ओम्। ॐ तव कथामृतं तप्तजीवनं कविभिरीडितं कल्मषापहम् श्रवणमङ्गलं श्रीमदाततं भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः। ॐ नमो भगवते श्रीरामकृष्णाय। Welcome to the 96th week of the readings and reflections on the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. This is the book that we have taken up for reading. Originally, it was written by M. Mahendranath Gupta in Bengali, and later it was translated into English by Swami Nikhilanandaji. We are now in 14th chapter, page 314. This subsection of this chapter is datelined as November 26, 1883. We are continuing the reading from the previous week. As usual, after completing the reading, we shall take up some points for reflections. Page 314. So, I am asking you, Vijay, if we have found your room, to M and the others. You see, the spring in Vijay's heart has been covered all these days. Now it is open. To Vijay. Well, Shivanath is always in trouble and turmoil. He has to write for magazines and perform many other duties. Worldly duties bring much worry and anxiety along with them. It is narrated in the Bhagavata that the Avaduta had 24 gurus, one of whom was a kite. In a certain place, the fishermen were catching fish. A kite swooped down and snatched a fish. At the sight of the fish, about 1,000 crows chased the kite and made a great noise with their cawing. Whichever way the kite flew with the fish, the crows followed it. The kite flew to the south, and the crows followed it there. The kite flew to the north, and still the crows followed after it. The kite went east and west, but with the same result. As the kite began to fly about in confusion, lo, the fish dropped from its mouth. The crows at once let the kite alone and flew after the fish. Thus relieved of its worries, the kite sat on the branch of a tree and thought, that wretched fish was at the root of all my troubles. I have now got rid of it, and therefore I am at peace. The Avaduta learned this lesson from the kite, that as long as a man has the fish, that is, worldly desires, he must perform actions and consequently suffer from worry, anxiety, and restlessness. No sooner does he renounce these desires than his activities fall away and he enjoys peace of soul. But work without any selfish motive is good. It does not create any worry. But it is very difficult to be totally unselfish. We may think that our work is selfless, but selfishness comes unknown to us from no one knows where. But if a man has already undergone great spiritual discipline, then as a result of it, he may be able to do work without any selfish motive. After the vision of God, a man can easily do unselfish work. In most cases, action drops away after the attainment of God. Only a few, like Narada, work to bring light to mankind. The Avaduta accepted a bee as another teacher. Bees accumulate their honey by days of hard labor, but they cannot enjoy their honey. For A man soon breaks the comb and takes it away. The Avaduta learned this lesson from the bees that one should not lay things up. Sadhus should depend 100% on God. They must not gather for the morrow. But this does not apply to the householder. He must bring up his family. Therefore, it is necessary for him to provide. Birds and monks do not hoard. Yet birds also hoard after their chicks are hatched. They collect food in their beaks for their young ones. Let me tell you one thing, Vijay. Don't trust a sadhu if he keeps bag and baggage with him and a bundle of clothes with many knots. I have seen such a sadhu under the banyan tree in the Panchavati. Two or three of them were seated there. One was picking over lentils, some were sewing their clothes, and all were gossiping about a feast they had enjoyed in a rich man's house. They said among themselves, that rich man spent 100,000 rupees on the feast and fed the sadhus sumptuously with cake, sweets, and many such delicious things. All love. Vijay, it is true, sir. I have seen such sadhus at Gaya. They are called the Lotawala sadhus of Gaya. Sadhus carrying water pots. They are called Lotawala. Master to Vijay. When love of God is awakened, work drops away of itself. If God makes some men work, let them work. It is now time for you to give up everything. Renounce all and say, O mind, may you and I alone behold the Mother, letting no one else intrude. Saying this, Sri Ramakrishna began to sing in his soul enthralling voice. Cherish my precious mother, Shama, tenderly within, O mind. May you and I alone behold her, letting no one else intrude. O mind, in solitude enjoy her, keeping the passions all outside. Take but the tongue, that now and again it may cry out, O mother, O mother. Suffer no breath of base desire, suffer no breath of base desire to enter and approach us there. But bid true knowledge stand on God, alert and watchful evermore. The master said to Vijay, surrender yourself completely to God and set aside all such things as fear and shame. Give up such feelings as, what will people think of me if I dance in the ecstasy of God's holy name? The saying, one cannot have the vision of God as long as one has three, shame, hatred, and fear, is very true. Shame, hatred, fear, caste, pride, secretiveness, and the like are so many bonds. Man is free when he is liberated from all this. When bound by ties, one is Jiva, and when free from ties, one is Shiva. Prema, ecstatic love of God, is a rare thing. First of all, one acquires bhakti. Bhakti is single minded devotion to God, like the devotion a wife feels for her husband. It is very difficult to have unalloyed devotion to God. Through such devotion, one's mind and soul merge in Him. Then comes bhava, intense love. Through bhava, a man becomes speechless. His nerve currents are stilled. Kumbhaka comes by itself. It is like the case of a man whose breath and speech stop when he fires a gun. But prema, ecstatic love, is an extremely rare thing. Chaitanya had that love. When one has prema, one forgets all outer things. One forgets the world. One forgets one's own body, which is so dear to a man. The master began to sing. Oh, when will dawn the blessed day when tears of joy will flow from my eyes as I repeat Lord Hari's name? Oh, when will dawn the blessed day when all my craving for the world will vanish straight away from my heart? And with the thrill of his holy name, all of my hair will stand on end. Oh, when will dawn that blessed day? So, the talk of the divine things was proceeding when some invited Brahma devotees entered the room. There were among them a few pandits and high government officials. Sri Ramakrishna had said that bhava stills the nerve currents of the devotee. He continued, when Arjuna was about to shoot at the target, the eye of a fish, his eyes were fixed on the eye of the fish and on nothing else. He didn't even notice any part of the fish except the eye. In such a state, the breathing stops and one experiences kumbhaka. Another characteristic of God vision is that a great spiritual current rushes up along the spine and goes toward the brain. If then the devotee goes into samadhi, he sees God. Looking at the Brahma devotees who has just arrived, the master said, mere pandits devoid of divine love talk incoherently. Pandit Samadhyayi once said in the course of his sermon, God is dry. Make him sweet by your love and devotion. Imagine to describe him as dry, whom the Vedas declare as the essence of bliss. It makes one feel that the Pandit didn't know what God really is. That was why his words were so incoherent. A man once said, there are many horses in my uncle's cowshed. From that, one could know that the man had no horses at all. No one keeps a horse in a cowshed. Some people pride themselves on their riches and power, their wealth, honor, and social position. But these are only transitory. Nothing will remain with you in death. There is a song that runs, remember this, O mind, nobody is your own. Vain is your wandering in this world, trapped in the subtle snare of Maya as you are. Do not forget the mother's name. Only a day or two men honor you on earth as Lord and Master. All too soon that form, so honored now, must needs be cast away when death, the Master, seizes you. Even your beloved wife, for whom, while yet you live, you fret yourself almost to death, will not go with you then. She too will say farewell and shun your corpse as an evil thing. One must not be proud of one's money. If you say that you are rich, then one can remind you that there are richer men than you, and others richer still, and so on. At dusk, the glow-worm comes out and thinks that it lights the world. But its pride is crushed when the star appears on the sky. The stars feel that they give light to the earth, but when the moon rises, the stars fade in shame. The moon feels that the world smiles at its light and that it lights the earth. Then the eastern horizon becomes red and the sun rises. The moon fades and after a while is no longer seen. If wealthy people would think that way, they would get rid of their pride in their wealth. Manilal had provided a sumptuous feast in celebration of the festival. He entertained the master and the other guests with great love and attention. It was late at night when they returned to their homes. So, dear devotees and friends, welcome to the 96th class of the readings and reflections on the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Last week was very interesting. In the passage that we read, the conversation between Vijay Krishna Goswami, one of the great saints in Bengal, and Sri Ramakrishna. It was on November 26, 1883, where the Sindhuriyapatti Brahma Samaj had arranged a function. And Manilal was the host, and he has arranged a big satsang and also a feast after the end of the satsang. The important visitor to that Brahma Samaj celebration was Sri Ramakrishna. On invitation, he had gone there with some of his devotees also. There he met Vijay Krishna Goswami and had wonderful discussion that we saw last week. And strangely, later only I learned that last Sunday was the Tirodhan Divas of Vijay Krishna Goswami. And last Sunday, after the Arati, during our bhajan session, one lady sang. She is from the lineage of Vijay Krishna Goswami. So everything combined together last week was a great Sunday. So today, Sri Ramakrishna continuing to talk to Vijay, and he's telling to Vijay and also other devotees. Of course, Vijay is responding with words because he is a leader of the Brahma Samaj. And naturally, other devotees, they do not speak when Vijay is sitting there. So Vijay speaks to Sri Ramakrishna. In this passage, we find Sri Ramakrishna is bringing out an idea of non-attachment and also the accumulation of wealth due to greed. So these are the 2 points that come to our discussion. So Sri Ramakrishna is telling to Vijay, see, why Shivnath is always in trouble and turmoil. So Sri Ramakrishna reads his mind. He says he has to write for magazines and perform many other duties. So worldly duties bring much worry and anxiety along with them. So this is true. We all have worldly duties and we know how much trouble the worldly duties bring upon us. There are many devotees who have told us that during the worldly duties, performance of worldly duties, how much difficulty people have experienced, either from the bosses or from the peers or from the juniors. So lots of things are happening and it creates much worry. Whole day they will be thinking, and after coming back from the office, again you have to think about the worldly duties and those duties, how they created so bad. So that type of worries and anxieties is well known. And Shivanath was undergoing that too. So Sri Ramakrishna is bringing an example of an Avaduta. This Avaduta, the name comes in Bhagavata, and also there's a scripture called Avaduta Gita. Avaduta Gita is a very small book only, just barely with 8 chapters, and it is very popular in the Marathi speaking areas where in Maharashtra, because that it is said to be written by none other than Dattatreya himself. So Dattatreya was a great saint, born to the couple of Atri Maharishi. So Atri had a wife called Anusuya. Anusuya and Atri were great spiritual personages in their time, and they had a child. It's very strange, how the child came into being. It is not the child that was given birth by Anusuya. It is said Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, all the 3 combinedly put together, forming a baby, and that baby is Dattatreya. So Atri Maharishi has given. Datta means that which is given. So Datta. So Datta Atreya. Atreya means son of Atri. He is called Atreya. So Atri Rishi's son, that is Atri Rishi gave that to Anusuya. So Datta's story is, Puranic story is very interesting, but you can Google and find out the story. Now, Sri Ramakrishna is telling about this Avaduta. These Avadutas are not sannyasis. They are not monks, but they can be at any stage of life. One can be a brahmachari or a grahastha, this householder, or a vanaprastha, a living in the forest, or he can be a monk also. But then they are not bound by any rules and regulations of any ashram or any sampradaya. So they are called Avadhuta. These Avadhutas are still there. When you go to India in some place like Gorakhpur, etc., you can find Avadhutas moving about. And they always wander. They don't have an ashrama. They don't stay in a particular place more than 3 nights. So they'll be moving around. And they don't care. If they get food, they eat. If they don't get food, they don't worry. If it is very hot, they don't worry. If it is very cold, they don't worry. Any type of dualities you put upon them, they are not at all concerned about those things. So the word also is very good, you see. Dhuta means shaken off. Generally in Natya Shastra, that is the dance scriptures, you find the Dhuta is used. There are 24 kinds of head shake is there. In dance, those people who learn dance, they learn these things. 24 kinds of head shake. How many head shake we know? And people make fun, the Bengalis would always make fun of the South Indians. How, when they say, do you like this or not? If you put a question, a South Indian will move his head in such a way, the Bengalis are surprised whether he's telling yes or no. So they make, fun of this. So the head shake has got so many varieties. And in each place, very, very big varieties are there. So anyway, this sage Bharata, who wrote down the Natya Shastra, the scripture for dance, he has pointed out there are 24 types of head shakes. So there is a literal meaning, the shake off is the meaning of dhuta. But then when you add this word avadhuta, it means, shaking means what? When you shake your shirt, then all the dirt is shaken off, you say. The dirt is gone. You have renounced that, all the dirt. So you shake off your attachment. So a man who has shaken off attachment to everything, that man is considered as avadhuta. So his status is something like a paramahamsa. Only thing, a paramahamsa may not move about. But a avadhuta does not stay in one place. He moves about. But in the knowledge level, both of them are of the same status, we can say. So these avadhutas are very rare to see. As you say, that we see that paramahamsas are also very rare to see. Only in, say, in 100 or 200 years, one paramahamsa comes. That's all. And then rest period you have to wait. And then another 100 years after, another paramahamsa comes. So the paramahamsas are not many. But then, likewise, avadhutas are not many. But these avadhutas are very wonderful people, This is in one of the chapters in Bhagavatam, that is the 11th skanda, it is written about this avadhuta. What is the story of this Bhagavat in Avadhuta? It's very interesting. I was going through on, internet, you get a lot of stories. And the original, of course, is there. Along with that, some people take, they read the Bhagavatam and tell you the stories. So likewise, one Pandit has told the story. So 11th skanda, I'm telling you, just Uddhava, Krishna's friend. And he is the foremost among Krishna's friend. And he is most a devotee also of Krishna's, as well as he was the minister of Krishna's. So he is a wise man. So Krishna always consulted him. Uddhava, tell me, what is this, what is there, etc. So this, one day he approached Krishna. What he wanted to tell Krishna, he was quite, very respectful to Krishna, and then bowed down to Sri Krishna and said, "Oh Lord, you have been always with me. I have seen your grace on me everywhere. Whether I am awake or asleep, you are with me, I know that. But I hear from your mouth that you are going to leave us. That I never expected. You are going to leave this world, and then you are going away to your own dham. That is Parandham. That is my dham, he says in Gita. So the Parandham. So he says, so how can we all live without you for a moment? And why did you consider that you should leave this earth? You should not leave, so stay on. Like that, he is just telling him. Then, taking him by the hand, the Lord Sri Krishna takes him to a place of solitude and asks him, Uddhava, sit here. What you have said is very true. My mission is over now. Dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. In Gita, Krishna has already said, to establish dharma, I come down to this earth. And after this Mahabharata war, the dharma has been established. So I don't need to stay anymore. My work is over. My mission is over. So why should I stay on when the work is over? So on the seventh day from today, from Dwaraka, I will leave this place. Why? The Dwaraka will be swept with floods from the river, from the ocean. That is, tsunami-like flood will come, and it will engulf Dwaraka and eat away Dwaraka. So Dwaraka will go under the sea. Arabian Sea it is called. Now, you see, when surprising it is written in Bhagavatam and some 5,000 years back. But then you see, today, when the archaeologists went on searching for Dwaraka, what Dwaraka that you have today in the western province in Gujarat, in India, is a later Dwaraka. The original Dwaraka where Sri Krishna lived, it is found under the sea now. So they have gone under the sea, taken photographs of the pillars, of the big halls, etc. They have taken. So they have researched and found out they are all now completed with water. So you cannot enter into that, that's all. So that Dwaraka, it says, it will be swept under the sea. The age of Kali will begin. Kali Yuga will start now. And men will be attached to unrighteousness. When Kali enters, this dharma will again start to go down. So, O Uddhava, leave all attachments now. This is the time for you to cut off all attachments. Then what you should do? Resign yourself to me. Think of me. So, Mayeva mana adasva. So he says, you leave everything. Make me as your refuge. Then what you should do? And consider all your relatives and your own clan, everyone are all provided by Lord. And wander the world, recognizing my presence in everything. Understand, I am present in everything. With that, you start movement. You start moving from place to place. And when he said this, Uddhava started weeping. Eyes got so much tears, and he started weeping. And he says, what is this illusion that you have created? Even I know all the philosophy, and you have taught me everything. Even then, I am feeling so much attached to everything in this world. So please, relieve me from the attachment. Then Sri Krishna is telling him a story of some other story. What is the story? The story is there was a conversation in the olden days between one Avadhuta yogi called Avadhuta yogi is a yogi Dattatreya. This Dattatreya was talking to Yadu king. Yadu Kula is there, a great lineage of Yadus. That Yadu Kulas, there was one great king was there. So that king, Yadu king is called. So to him, our Dattatreya was talking. So that is what this chapter explains. This is not in Avadhuta Gita, mind you. Don't confuse with Avadhuta Gita and Bhagavatam's Avadhuta. They are all different. But the same Dattatreya who wrote Avadhuta Gita is now spoken of in Bhagavatam also. So he is telling this King Yadu, he says, "O Lord King, you see, you are asking me how that I left everything and became unattached to the world. Do you know how many gurus I have? Then the king asked Avadhuta Dattatreya, how many gurus you have? These are all conversation. So it has to become like that. Then Avadhuta says, I have 24 gurus. And when he said 24 gurus, naturally, we are also surprised. And like us, even that king, Yadu, he also got surprised. Then he says, what are your gurus? Or who are your gurus? So I am very much interested to learn about them. Then the Dattatreya says, okay, my gurus, 24 gurus are these gurus, like that. He gives a list. I'm repeating the list to you. The list goes like this. They are earth, air, sky, water, fire, the sun, the moon. So earth, air, sky, water, fire, the Panchabhutas are the five. Then sun and moon, you get seven. Now Kapota. Kapota means dove. The beautiful bird, white bird, it is used for as a sign of peace everywhere. The dove is one of them. That is eight. Ninth is python, snake. So the snake is also, snake is that is python, not a small snake, python. And then he says ocean, then river. Ocean and river both are connected, all the rivers going to fall into ocean. Ocean, river. Then moth, small moth that flies in the gardens. And then honey bee. So the bees that are collecting honeys, about that. Then elephant. Then honey gatherer, a person who goes and removes that honey bees and then remove the honey bee, and then he takes all the honey, this honey gatherer. Then deer, and then fish. After this, he says, strangely, Pingala, by name Pingala, a prostitute. She was a courtesan in the king's palace. So Pingala. And then one osprey. Osprey is a bird or a kind of hawk. So it's called osprey. There are gray ospreys are there, blue ospreys are there. They are not exactly like eagle of that size, but little smaller bird. Then maiden, whoever is helping maiden, that is, or a young girl. Then arrow, arrowsmith, then who makes these arrows. Then spider, then the small snake. Then Pesaskrit, it's called Pesaskrit in Sanskrit, it's called wasp. A wasp that bites you, that stings you. These are the total 24 gurus that I have. Naturally, the king curiosity was increased. So he started asking him, what do you mean? These gurus are there. These gurus, you learned something from them? Do you call them guru because they taught you something? Then he says, one by one he teaches how these gurus taught him. And that is what Sri Ramakrishna is quoting here. Sri Ramakrishna quoted here two gurus of Avadhuta, that is Dattatreya. What are the two gurus? One is the kite, that is the osprey, I told you, a kind of hawk. And another is the bee gatherer. These two things Sri Ramakrishna quotes. And what did he say about this first thing he says about the kite? It's very interesting. You see, the exact story that Sri Ramakrishna puts it is not in Bhagavatam like this. So he says how he learned from kite, that he says. But then Sri Ramakrishna has got a knack of telling stories, He was a great storyteller. So in all the stories, he makes his own imagination also adds. How he adds, you see? He says, in a certain place, the fishermen were catching fish. And then a kite swooped down and snatched a fish. At the sight of the fish, about 1,000 crows chased. This number is not given in Bhagavatam, though Sri Ramakrishna says. But the Krishna, he who came as Krishna, is now in the form of Sri Ramakrishna. So whatever he says, we take it as truth. And you see, it is truth only because as a Paramahamsa, he could see the vision in his vision. So he saw in that vision, 1,000 crows came chasing this kite. And the kite was going to the east, the crows were following him. It goes to west, all the four directions it went. And finally, it got tired also. How to, where to fly, it doesn't know. At that time, somehow, because of the tiredness, the beak could not hold the fish, and the fish fell down. Once the fish fell down from that height of in the sky, all the 1,000 crows swooping towards the fish, and the kite was left free. So the kite was so happy, and that it went and sat on a branch of a tree and started thinking that wretched fish was the reason for these 1,000 crows following me, see me, and they are also cawing, he says. 1,000 crows, one crow cawing near your window, you feel very much disturbed and you come and say, so whoosh, go away, like that you shout at it. But 1,000 crows are cawing means you can see the trouble, the noise pollution at that for that kite. And then kite now is completely in silence. And it says that wretched fish was the reason how I am so happy. I am at peace now. It says. Now this was a great lesson that he learned. So what did Avadhuta learn from the kite? The Avadhuta learned this lesson from the kite that as long as man has the fish, that is worldly desires, he must perform actions and consequently suffer from worry, anxiety, restlessness, etc. No sooner does he renounce these desires than his activities fall away normally and he enjoys the peace of soul. See, immediately when you hear this, see, Vijay is there. Vijay is, of course, a very highly evolved soul. We can understand Vijay will naturally take the meaning properly, etc., etc. But what about those householders who are all sitting there? The Brahma devotees who are sitting there. How they will be thinking that, as Sri Ramakrishna is telling, leave everything, all that desires, and how we live in this world. This is the question that will come. So, Sri Ramakrishna immediately adds, but work without any selfish motive is good. It does not create any worry. But it is very difficult to be unselfish. So, we may think that our work is selfless, but selfishness comes unknown to us from nowhere. We do not know from where it comes. So, if you have great spiritual discipline, then as a result, you will be able to work without a selfish motive. So, this is the secret he gives. And then action drops away normally. So, then afterwards, he's giving another one, Avadhuta. The Avadhuta says, another guru that I had, and that was honey bee gatherer. So the honeybee is taking bee from different flowers. This bee is also as a great example for sannyasis. When we take sannyas, on that day, our guru explains to us, you go to the villages and beg food from the houses, not more than 5 houses. Some people say 7 houses. Our guru said 5 houses. Not more than 5 houses. You should stand and ask for Bhikshandehi, Bhavati Bhikshandehi, you should say, give me Bhiksha. And whatever that lady of that house comes out and gives you, that you should accept without any murmur. And then move on. And then go to 5 houses. Suppose you have received enough within 3 houses, you should return. You should not need not complete 5 houses. If you go to 5 houses and you find it is not sufficient for you, still you should return. You should not search for 6th or 7th house. So whatever is given to you by Lord today is at that is at His will. So accept it. So in that way, this is called Madhukari. So this Madhukari method of eating is considered as a great punya to get the prasad of that. Madhukari. So suppose in modern days, is it possible? Yes, if you go for bhiksha in villages in India, it is still allowed. In Indian villages, monks are not thrown out unless you are first found to be some fake monk. Otherwise, if genuine monk, then they welcome you, they make you seated in their home, they feed you, and then you get up and then go away, blessing them. So this is how the tradition is there. And the modern cities, of course, this is slowly, slowly coming down. And in cities like highly modern, ultra modern, gated communities, etc., monk cannot even enter unless you have the password, of that gate. So you can't even enter. So the trouble is that. So how the wandering monks, you see, the number is slowly, slowly reducing. With the result, all over India, we have the turn of the knowledge being distributed, and that one of the best equipment, best tool for distribution of the knowledge portion of the Vedas to the entire India was through monks. Because these monks, Swamiji praises these wandering monks, and 2 years he was himself a wandering monk, and he went all around India and saw. He could see the plight of people who are suffering by his own eyes, not merely read or learned from Google. So you can see a monk who goes around and meets people. Every day he meets a new man, new person, a new family, and then he transmits the knowledge that he has got. That is very important. So this transmission of knowledge was being carried on in India for very long. That's why Ramayana, Mahabharata is known in the nook and corner of India. It is very rare. Even there are other epics also in other languages. But you go to the country and ask them about that epic, they have not heard also. Because nobody to carry that knowledge to the house. Each house, how do you carry it? Of course, nowadays television has come. So television is also a great tool now. So there was a time when these gadgets and technological advancement was not there. So at that time, the monks have been contributing to the society greatly, to the spread of knowledge. So these avadutas, they used to go around from place to place and carry this knowledge. So Madhukari, I was telling you, when you go to one house and ask for food, so whatever that lady has cooked for her family, from that she would take only one palm level. This is one palm, whatever contains one palm, she would take it and give to you. You must be satisfied with that. And that's why the madhu, that is this madhumaki as we call it, this bee, what does it do? It goes to a flower, and I have seen this butterflies as well, and these bees, how the bees, take honey from the flower. I used to be, when I take photographs of the flowers, I used to see, and in my mind, I used to call, "Oh bee, where are you? Come, I want to take a photo of you." And suddenly one black bee will come and moving around, then I take the photo. So like that, many photos I have got. So the bees, you call them in your mind and they come, they listen to you. These bees, when I say that the bees listen to you, I remember one funny incident happened in Ranchi. So in Ranchi, every Sunday we used to have shaven head on the day, and barber would come, and then we all shave and then sit. So all the monks and brahmacharis sit, and then in the arati time, and the devotees will sit on another carpet. So all are sitting, and the arati is supposed going to start. Just before that, because all the doors and windows are open in the hall, one bee entered. That buzzing bee, and it has got buzzing sound, and that when everything is so silent, and just the Pujari Maharaj is going to take the light and stand up, at that very moment, that complete absence of sound, any sound, silent sound, at that time, the buzzing bee entered. And then that is like that, the sound is going on. Now what happened was, it was going here and there, etc. But everybody is escaping from its sting. They thought that it may sting, So they were like doing, like it came and then started moving around my head. And the people who are sitting behind me, they were all worried. Suppose, and it's nicely clean shaven head, and it comes and stings on my head, and I will have to take it to hospital, you see. So they were all wondering how to remove that. Now you can't beat that. So if you beat that one, that beating will come on my head. So what to do? They were all wondering. It was in such a situation, and then and it started coming before me also. Then I looked at it. Then loudly I said, "Oh, B, sit here, listen to Arati. After Arati, get up." I said, and then B like that came down and sat there. And for the whole Arati, it sat there quietly. And then after the Arati, of course, it went away. We also got up. So this is a very beautiful experience I had. So these birds and bees, trees, they all listen to man's voices. In same Ranchi sanatorium, we had on Shantananda Kutia, where Swami Shantananda used to stay. So that we reserved for the visiting monks who like to spend their time quietly. There are monks who think that a lot of activities they are doing. So naturally, all these activities, whether you even do for even unselfish activities, you get worries, anxieties you get. So some swamis would tell me, Maharaj, we would like to spend 10 days in Shantananda Kutia. So I would arrange for them food there, and either we'll send the food by tiffin carrier, or they can come and take food with us and then go back to the Shantananda Kutia. It is about, say, half a mile distance from her. And all around, beautiful trees are there, and lot of flowers are there. So it is like a very beautiful ashram type. So many sadhus used to come there. So there, one sadhu came, and then he stayed there. So I was standing with him and talking to him outside. There was a plant. So our gardener came at the time, and he was explaining what are the types of flowers we have. Then he was showing to the Swami, and he was going to stay about a month. He told him, Maharaj, this plant is the leaves are very, very fresh always, because we give water, etc. But then it never flowers. It is a kind of jasmine flower, but never flowers. Last 2 years, flowering has stopped. But the leaves are even fresh. It is not dead plant. Then Maharaj said, okay, I have heard from you. Okay, it's over. Then he's turning to me, says, I will make this plant flowering. I said, how, Maharaj? Simple. I will talk to you daily. I will request it to give flowers for the puja. I will tell it. I said, okay. Swamiji is telling, okay, like that I came away. I didn't disbelieve him, neither believe him. Then after 1 week, he calls me and then said, come and see this plant. I said, what is it? And some buds have come. Very small size. Buds have come. So I was very interested. Let me watch this plant. And our gardener also was stunned. And before going, he explained to me, you see, these plants actually are jivas. Jivas only by becoming in the evolution scale, according to Charles Darwin, the evolution scale, some jivas have become plants. Okay. But some jivas who are in the human body, they go into, it's called retrogression in the reincarnation theory. So you go back into some other body, not the exactly human body, because of some heinous sin that you have done. So now no movement is there. He must have cut the feet of somebody who could not move at all. So that type of heinous crime, if you have done, you will be born as a tree or as a plant. You cannot move. But then you might have done some nice spiritual disciplines. You must have accumulated some great punya. So for that account is what a flowering plant you become. And everybody loves you. They give you, feed you, they give watering, and they love you, they touch you like that. So these are all jivas. So they listen to us. So every day after my meditation, I come here and stand before it, putting my palms together. I pray to the plant. Oh plant, please give flowers. We will use it for Sri Ramakrishna's puja. Like that I say. And in 1 week, it gave buds. And in another 2 weeks, all the buds, flowered. And, I plucked it and kept it here. Please take it and use it in your puja. So, it is possible that all these jivas, all these things we are having, we are seeing, hearing, etc., are all imbued with the divinity. The divinity is present everywhere. He who sees divinity everywhere, other than divinity, doesn't see any differences. That person the wanderer, is called Avaduta. Actually, Sri Ramakrishna was very fond of telling about this Avaduta. This Avaduta takes, like the bee, he goes to one house and accepts one palm of food, is happy. He goes to another house. What happens to this house when when he has taken one palm level or the quantity of the item? That householder is not overburdened. Suppose some Avduta says, I will stay in your house for 10 days, feed me 10 days, 3 times a day. Is it not an extra expenditure for that? So why do you burden him? Instead of burdening him, you go to different houses and take from different people and one palm of item, so that the society is not overburdened. So that is the concept that's called madhukari. So sannyasis are instructed to go for madhukari, bhiksha. In cities and in the type of Western countries, etc., it's very difficult, to go out and beg food. It's very difficult. Even some of the cities in India, you cannot beg food. It is so difficult. But when I went to Dehradun, Dehradun is surrounded by villages. So every Sunday, four Swamis were there. We used to go for begging to different directions. And then we bring that to the ashram. We all sit together and take, or mix everything and then take from there. So that madhukari food is said to be the best food for the sannyasin. And he who has prasad from that is a great punya he accumulates, merit he accumulates, like that it is said. So from that, the Avaduta has learned that you should not overburden a householder. What a wonderful idea, you see. Even here in Dublin, when I came here, and we are two Swamis are there. So the mothers here, they all arranged this madhukari type of food. Only difference is, instead of our going out, they bring it here. So every day, one devotee brings food for us. So from one house, we take food. So that is the same thing we are doing, but a modernized madhukari form we are following here. So you see, as per the age, things change. But still, it is not burdening or overburdening any one devotee. So that must be kept in mind. And then also, it's just about this honey bee gatherer. Honey bees, they come in hundreds and thousands, and then they take so much hard labor, and then they bring the honey, then put it in the honey, what do you call that, honeycomb, and then they accumulate there. How much they can eat? Hardly they eat. How much they consume? Hardly they consume. But then the whole thing, because of the greed, that it's only an example that how by greed, why man can possess so much of wealth, what he will do? He can't do anything. There are many instances. In America, we find the lady who has been leading all her life as a poor woman. She would not have best clothes. She would not take best food. And she was living like that. She died and her kept millions of dollars and in the name of her cat. So you find such people. So accumulation. Why you accumulate, you are not able to, you are able to take it. You are unable to enjoy, nor you are able to give it to others. So the charity, every country has got a charity commissioner is there. So he will tell you that who gives how much. So they make a list, first 10 from the top level, to say like that, you put all the countries list, and then they make a global charity givers. And you'll be surprised. The very first person, the first ranking person is our Tata, Jamshedji Tata. His gift that he gave has not been exceeded even by Bill Gates. So recently this information came out that how this Tata has been so charitable to everything. So whoever went and asked, he would give. And then earlier days, in our Mahabharata days, we hear about Karna. So the Karna was a great king, and of course he sided with Adharma. That's why he had to be killed. But then that Karna, if he has only sided with Dharma, he would have been protected by Sri Krishna, and he would have been made as the chief of the Pandavas. So that was the offer that was given to him. Of course, he refused because he took the salt of Duryodhana. So that was another characteristics of Karna. It's a wonderful character of Karna. That though it ended in a tragedy, but that character itself is a wonderful character. So this Karna is said to be a Dana, it's a Danaveer. So he used to give everything. Whatever you ask, he would give. So like that, this type of bees, so Sri Ramakrishna is talking about the bee hunter. He goes there and removes all your wealth, which you have not used for others. So what does that mean? That means you should not accumulate more than you require. If you accumulate, then spend it wisely. Don't spend it here and there. So he is telling to Vijay, that when love of God is awakened, work drops away of itself. If God makes some men work, let them work. It is now time for you to give up everything. Renounce all and say, O mind, may you and I alone behold the mother, letting no one else intrude. It's a very beautiful song, It's a Bengali song, which Sri Ramakrishna used to sing. And it is, say, Jotane Hrudaya Rakho Adaroni Shama Maki. It's a beautiful song. It says that Jnana Noyane Prahari Rekho. You have got eyes, but these physical eyes are no use to you. If you attach knowledge to the mind, then the same eyes, the outward eyes, become Jnana Noyan, then eyes of knowledge. So with the eyes of knowledge, keep these two eyes of knowledge as your bodyguards. So wherever you go, keep these two bodyguards with you. Prahari means bodyguards. So this, and then Shejano Shabdane Take, and he is always alert. So when the Prahari is alert, there is no danger for you. You are protected. So the poet says that, oh mother, that let me see you, and you are not visible to anyone. You are there, I am there. We are happy. And I'm happy to call you O Shama. So this is a Shama Sankirtan. That's a beautiful song. He sings it. And then he said to Vijay, surrender yourself completely to God and set aside all such things as fear and shame. And also he brings that the Ashtapash, the 8 types of fetters he speaks of: shame, hatred, fear, caste, pride, secretiveness, etc. There are 8 kinds of pashas are there. They are called fetters. So the bonds, the 8 kinds of bonds can come to anybody, and he is cautioning Vijay, keep your Jnana Nayana as your 2 bodyguards, and if you keep these 2 bodyguards with you always, then what happens? These 8 bonds will not come and catch you. So they are like thieves. They are ready to loot upon you. So wait, and then don't allow them to come near you. That is what we find in today's beautiful passages. We shall continue next week further. Om Niranjanam Nityam Anantarupam Bhaktanukampadrita Vigraham Vai Ishavataram Parameshamidhyam Tam Ramakrishnam Shirasa Namamaha. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.